Hello again and welcome. Today's video is going to introduce you to the Robert Sorby spiraling and texturing set, and this is it. Now, I obtained this set from Ed Oliver at Oliver's Woodturning, and what Ed is doing is offering a £30 voucher on all orders, and if you use the code MW30 that will entitle you to a £30 voucher that you can spend on any items you require on Ed's site. So that's Oliver's Woodturning, and the code is MW30. What I'm going to do initially is go through what's in the box, and then we will go into each item individually, and hopefully by the end of the video you will be able to go away and play with it and have some idea of how to use it. There are some printed instructions which go through the very basic setup of the tools and how to approach them to the work to get the best from them. There's then a DVD which goes into much more detail and gives quite a few examples on what the tool is capable of doing. And at the end of that DVD is a section by Nick Agar. Now, Nick Agar is, I would imagine, known to most, if not all of you, as a world-renowned UK turner, who is especially known for his texturing and colouring of pieces. So that is a really worthwhile part of the DVD to make sure you watch. Now, in the box you get the micro tool with an adjustable tool rest, 3 cutters. You get a fine, a medium and the texturing wheel. In the bottom here you'll see a quality diamond hone, which is used to keep all the cutters in tip-top condition, and I'll go through the techniques that I found work pretty good for me. A 7.5 inch aluminium handle to put the cutter to put the tool in. Then you've got the standard size, the big boy if you like, which also has an adjustable tool rest, and that comes with 4 cutters, a 2mm, a 4mm and a 6mm pitch wheel, and also the texturing wheel. There are also 3 Allen wrenches for using on the grub screws that are needed to tighten and loosen various parts of the system. Then at the top you have the 12-inch Robert Sorby sovereign handle, which is a very versatile handle anyway. That has a 5/8 inch bore, and it comes with a reducer, so you can put a 1/2 inch bar in there, which indeed this tool is. Now, the beauty of this is that you can actually use any spindle gouges or bowl gouges that you have of a 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch diameter bar, and you can use it in this handle as well. So it's not restricted just to this system. There is also a 4-inch extension, and you attach that by means of this coupler. So all in all, a pretty versatile piece of kit. So as I say, all this plus a £30 voucher can be obtained from Oliver's Woodturning, and if you put the code in MW30 that will entitle you to that £30 voucher. Okay, now we will go into the setup and the use of this tool. Firstly, I'm going to go through a few basic steps which I believe to be absolutely paramount to enable you to achieve the best results from the tool. We'll take the first step. The lathe tool rest needs to be at a height, whether you have the adjustable rest on the micro tool or the larger one attached. Obviously, if you have this adjustable rest attached, the lathe tool rest is going to be higher, but you need to be, when you're on the horizontal, you need to be cutting at center height. Okay? And obviously if you remove this rest, which we will later on, then you're going to have to raise your lathe tool rest to enable your tool to cut on center height. Distance from the work, you need to be far enough away from your work that the wheel doesn't, if you're too close, the wheel is going to foul your tool rest. So you need enough distance between your work and the tool rest so that the wheel doesn't foul your work. And obviously with the larger standard size tool, you need to be a bit further away because the wheel is that much bigger. Okay. The other important point to note is that when you mount the wheel in the tool, that the flat side of the cutting wheel, because there's a bevel on one side and it's flat on the other, is next to the knurled head of the screw. The reason for that is, if you imagine that was over here, that is going to start to foul your work unless you're going straight on. The more you bring it round, the greater the chance of this getting in the way. So make sure when you change your wheels over that the knurled head of the screw is on the flat side. Keep the teeth in tip-top condition. The easiest way I've found to do it, and there are a couple of other ways, but this is the one I'll suggest to you to begin with, is you get the supplied diamond hone, which is a 600 grit stone, and you place it similarly to you would on a scraper or a gouge. You find the heel and the toe of the bevel and just literally light pressure, make sure that you're covering the bevel, and rotate and rotate just to put an edge back on. Simple as that. And that keeps the teeth nice and sharp. The first few designs I'm going to do will have the adjustable rest attached to the tool. Now this obviously restricts you insofar as whichever direction the wheel is facing, if you want to tilt, you have to unscrew and turn over. Where the rest is absolutely necessary all the time is when you're doing spirals, which we'll go into later on, when you're doing spirals on a spindle, a stem of a goblet or the side of a box, whatever. But we're going to concentrate on a lid for now. Let's say this is a lid of a box. So again, with the tool rest attached and the cutter wheel at perpendicular to your lathe bed. Okay, now we're on centre height. You want to approach the work at a slight angle, and the revs need to be around the 500 rev mark. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make a little feature pattern around the centre. So at centre height on the horizontal, with the finer tooth wheel and the nut away from your body, approach at 500 revs. The lathe running at just on 500 revs, and slightly left of centre, and pick up the cut nice and gently and increase the pressure, and we should have a nice little flower, which you can see there. Now we'll move across. Now I'll approach it straight on, again at centre height, and then move slightly more to the left, making it a bit finer. Now from this area you can see the patterns that I'm getting, and I'll zoom in a second. Now again on the vertical, from this mark virtually just to the left of it, I'm going to keep on the centre line and drag. And that will show you the effect that gives, which is more of a texturing effect. So we'll just zoom in now, just to show you, give you a bit of a better idea of that pattern. Okay, And what I'm going to do now, the beauty of this is when you're practicing is you can just face this off, which I'll do now, with a 3/8 spindle gauge. With the little nub, and there we have a clean surface again. Now, bearing in mind this is practice, I would braid this. I'm just trying to show you the method of using the tools. Now, we haven't got the rest attached now, so we need to adjust the lathe tool rest so that when this is on when the tool is on horizontal, it's cutting on centre. So I want to raise that slightly, and we're just there. With more experience and as you're playing around, you'll get used to these things. Now I haven't got the stability, if you like, of the tool rest, but now I have complete control of twisting, should I wish to, the wheel to give me different patterns. So again, with the lathe down to 500 revs, approaching on centre height again, we'll try and get that little flower in the middle. Again, slightly left of centre, cutting on centre height, nice and gently, and push in. And there we have the centre flower. Now, if you wanted to make that a little bit more pronounced, carefully pick up the cut very lightly and pressing. And then that should make it a little more pronounced with a bit more pattern on the outside. Tilt it over. And tilt it a bit more. Now this will show you the different sort of patterns that I can get. Now we'll go straight on to sort of give that a bit of a border, if you like. And what I'm going to do now, with the same, this is all with the same wheel, I'm going to do a little bit of a texture. Let's go on the side there, and border that. And there you can see the pattern we've achieved there. And because it hasn't got the adjustable rest attached, it allows you to be in more control and to practice and see what designs occur when you present the wheel at different angles to the work. Okay, so again, I've just faced this off with a 3/8 spindle gouge. We're not looking for perfect surface here because this is practice, and the beauty of it is that you can just get rid of the surface, one cut across, maybe two, you've got a clean canvas to play around and experiment with. So I'm going to start again with the fine wheel, and then I'm going to go to the medium wheel and also use the spiraling tool all on this one face. So the flower looks like a flower in the middle. It takes a bit of practice because you have to get just right, left of centre, start your cut. One thing I'd like to mention is when you start your cut, bearing in mind that this part is doing the initial contact and starting the cut off, get a light pressure just to establish a groove, if you like, for the wheel to work in. Then you can apply your pressure to get as much definition as you want. So start off lightly, approach the wood, and increase your pressure, and that should give us a delicate little flower, a little tiny one. So now I've changed to the medium wheel with the bigger teeth, again the flat side next to the knurled knob, and 500 revs as always, and I'm going to just tilt very slightly, again on centre height, nice and steady in. Going to tilt a bit more. And then straight on. Slightly tilted. Whoopee. Let's see what we've got. Again, a very bold pattern. So now I've got the spiralling cutter in, which is double beveled, and you don't want to put that at too much of an angle to the wood, otherwise it's going to tear out. So just to give you an idea, if we go in between the flower and the first, we'll just go in and see what happens when we just apply it. Not too much pressure, and that gives a nice dotted effect, if you like. Now we can do that in between the patterns we've already got. So let's say we'll put one here. So in the middle of here again, keeping the cutter on centre height, and just nice and lightly go in, and that is the effect you get. Now if I move it, we take this ring here, and if I move it back and forth, that gives quite a nice effect as well. So I mean, there is literally so many options. Okay, I'm now using the large cutter, the standard size tool, and again the wheel, the cutter is attached where the head of the bolt is adjacent to the flat, and that again, as I say, gives you more access. I've altered the tool rest height so that I'm cutting on centre when the tool is on the horizontal, and I'm using the 4mm cutter, which is in between the 2 and the 6, so it's the medium. Now the revs for the larger tool need to be around 1000 revs. Same principle, we're going to go just left of centre and go in just nice and gently on centre height. Apply some pressure. Now I've hardly put any pressure on there at all, and let's see what we've got. We've got a very nice delicate little flower. Now if I want to increase the depth of cut there, again pick up the cut and just increase pressure, and that will give a deeper outline. Okay, so again, slightly to the left at about 11 o'clock. Start off nice and gently and then go a bit further. Let's see what we've achieved here. A much more, a bolder pattern, if you like. Now we can do, let's go at the end here, we'll go over quite a way. And that's because the revs on the outside are higher, it's turning round at a faster rate than it is in the middle, and I turned it over a little bit more, I got this finer pattern. So I know I'm going to keep saying this at the risk of sounding really boring, your options are really limitless, and then it's always nice, in my opinion, in some form or another to get a border on the end. So again, going straight in at centre height, gently to start with, and then increase the pressure. And then that gives a defined border. I'll just face this off, and I just want to show you one more thing with the texturing tool. Okay, put the revs, get the revs to about 1,000 revs, 1,000 RPM. Now I've got the double beveled texturing tool. Okay, again with the nut facing away from you, enough room to give you what you need to do, and I'm going to go from the centre and I'm going to go across the face at centre height. And just with one pass you can see a really effective pattern there. Now the thing is, if you want again to have that more defined, if you start in the middle lightly, the teeth will pick up the cut that you initialized. There we go, and you can increase the pressure and then go across. And that gives a very impressive radial effect, if you like. And again on the end, with straight on, just put a little border just to define that, and you've got a nice broken border. So now I have the large tool with the adjustable tool rest attached and in the sovereign handle. Your tool rest height needs to be as such where the top of the adjustable rest on the tool is on centre height. Now, as you can see here, hopefully, I have swiveled the tool to the left to the first mark there and tightened down the Allen screws here. Then that keeps the cutter at a consistent angle during the operation of cutting a spiral. So we start the lathe at about 500 revs and lift the handle and start the cut nice and gently, and that then check it that you've got your spiral started. Now this enables you then to pick up the cut and to do a length of spiral that you require. So again, we can put the speed now up to around 1,000 revs, and again go into that initial cut. And that's not looking too bad. And then of course you can do what you wish with regards to the border here. Do this first and then you can just clean that up there or make another border here. But I think you get the idea. And there are, as I've explained, 3 size cutters, 2mm, 4mm and 6mm, and the micro cutter has the same ability, but obviously on smaller work. So that just gives you an idea how to get your spirals. And now what I'm going to do is to run through both the micro tool and the standard size tool around this bowl. This bowl is sycamore, and I've abraded it to 400 grit. So first with the fine cutter, getting a central pattern on centre height, approach nice and steady with the cutter vertical. And there we have the first pattern. And remember, you're cutting both side grain and end grain on a bowl, so you don't want to be going too much to tilting, because otherwise you're going to start ripping the grain. Okay, so that's the first pattern. We might get a little pattern in there as well with this one. See if we can. There's one little flower. And now I'll change the cutters. Now the medium toothed wheel. Same wheel, slight angle. And straight on. And I want to put a bit of definition on the base of the foot, so I'm going to go with the medium cutter and just try and get some type of border on there. Okay, let's have a look how that's come out. Yeah, I like that. Now I've got the texturing wheel, and I'm just going to go just on the outside of the foot. And have a little move. That's great. And I've got a nice little row of spots there. And now we'll go to the bigger wheel. I'm on the bigger tool now, and I've got the 4mm in at the moment. Increase my revs to about 1000 RPM for the bigger wheel. And the tool rest I've adjusted so it's cutting on centre height when it's horizontal. And just go in and try and follow the profile of the bowl. So we'll go just outside here and see what occurs here. Move it slightly over, come out a bit. Now I want to be a bit more pronounced, so I'm going to now I've got the larger 6mm wheel. Again, on centre height. And let's see what we can do here. And now the spiralling wheel, the spiralling cutter. some in the between. Okay, so that was just basically playing around with the various cutters, and if I zoom in, hopefully you'll be able to see the detail, and not forgetting at the end, when you've finished, just give it a burnish with either shavings. Just get rid of the fuzzies. I'll zoom in now, and hopefully you can see the effect that's been achieved. The possibilities are literally endless. Well, I hope you found that introduction into the Robert Sorby texturing and spiraling system of some use. Just covering the very basics, the setups, etc., and the rest is really up to you practicing and experimenting, but it gets you started hopefully. I really do enjoy using it, and I didn't even touch on colour or gilting. There are far more qualified people out there to offer advice and have videos on YouTube which can point you in that direction. And once again, thanks very much indeed for watching. Don't forget, if you go to Oliver's Woodturning and put in the code MW30, that will entitle you to a £30 voucher to be spent on any items you want on Oliver's Woodturning site. So once again, thanks very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers now.